Guerilla Podcast Syndicate production. Each of us runs a different pace in life.
As a millennial or someone coming of age into adulthood, it's just a lot of things to process. And a lot of things that you want can't happen now because a lot of things are
in love, friendships, and our own self-worth. As we embark on these journeys, we hold the hope to learn a little more each day.
Why can't I have whatever they have? And oftentimes I find myself comparing my progress, comparing what I have with other people, even like in the slyest way. It seems like it's
as we survive and strive to be stronger.
You are really sure and aware of your being as a person and your truth, your core, your everything. Anything that you put out in the table won't be used against you.
So I'd like to welcome you all to love, growth, and freedom.
The different kinds of love that we could see in this world, and on the idea of how love is crazy and how love has different meanings for all of us.
A podcast that believes in love, inspires growth, and advocates freedom. Let me be your friend, your guide, as we all ride the crazy adventure called life. Powered by Guerilla Podcast Syndicate.
Okay, hey guys, welcome back to Love, Growth, and Freedom with Celine Duarte. And I am AD here, your host for this episode. And I'll be having a Mother's Day special because, well, mothers are amazing people and I don't know how they do it. So I've invited one of my mother friends. Just kidding. Not just my mother friend. She's my aunt. And I wanted her to tell us what it is like to be a mom. So hi, let's welcome Miss Celine Duarte, or Nini. I call her Nini. Hello, Celine. Hello, Nini.
Hi, everyone. It's nice to be here and to be able to join you with your podcast.
How are you feeling about it, though? Like, this is the first time this is not the first time I got a family member to join. I had Sam the other time, but this is like the first time that you're going to be in the podcast. How are you feeling about it?
Nervous. Even my daughter, even Layla is nervous for me. She was asked me, how was the interview, Mom?
she's getting ready. Okay. Oh, that's wonderful. Anyway, so we're pretty close. Nini and I are pretty close, and I wanted her to join on in this one. I actually am also nervous because the questions I've had for her today is a little probing of what motherhood is. So I'm like excited. So in this episode, we're about to show what mothers go through as they face the challenges of motherhood, what changes within them from the time they found out they were bringing a human into this world to raising them to be a good and loving person. We often say mothers are superheroes, getting things done and keeping the house together, still provide that tender, loving care that we need. They're also humans, which means there are struggles within their triumphs that we don't see. So as a celebration of all mothers, this episode will shed a light on what it's like being a mother with my special guest, my aunt, or my tita, Nini, watching here. And she's a badass mom, so she's going to join us for today. So let's get started. Let's get started. Game. Okay, this episode will help us understand what it's like to be a mom. What are the internal battles we don't see, and how moms think what's best for us and how they look out for us. Okay, let's start by, why don't you tell us, how long have you been a mom?
I've been a mom for 8 years now. 8 long years for me.
8 years is a century.
Yes, 8 years is a century for me. I've been a stay-at-home mom for 7 years and a working mom for a year. And to top it all off, I am a single mom. And yeah, that's just about it. Many struggles, many triumphs, but still a mom.
Yes, a mom. And would you say like being the mom is the hardest occupation that you've had?
Yes, of course. It's a 24-hour job. No stops. Nothing. Even if you're sleeping, you'll hear a little voice, Mom, 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 like that. every time, 24 hours. So yeah, it's the toughest job I've ever had.
I can imagine. She's my cousin. So my cousin Layla, no, she's very talkative, guys.
Being there for a person, being there for her and answering all her questions. Like you said, being talkative, and she makes sense all the time. It's hard to rebut to a person, a small person, a more small version of you. It's very tough. It's
I can
fun.
imagine, but well, I can see that. Don't worry, so close to that. I it hits close to home. So Layla is very talkative. You know, I love her, but
Hmm.
she asks a lot of questions, and she is sassy,
Hmm.
borderline 100% sassy. That level. Anyway,
That's true.
what is your definition of being a mother? Did it change when you become one? So, like, what was your definition of being a
Yeah.
mom before you had your daughter, before you had Layla, and then
Mhm.
when you had Layla?
But yung cliche that they always say, of course, it's motherhood or being a mom is being selfless, self-sacrificing, you love unconditionally, you put your children first. It is, yes, true. But when I became a mom, everything else changed. It's not just yung loving unconditionally, it's more on doing everything out of love. You
Mm-hmm.
disciplining them out of love, telling on them out of love, making sure that they feel loved every single day with no ifs, no buts, no coconut, no ifs, no buts, no coconuts. So yeah, it really changed what how I define motherhood. I thought before I had the best examples in the family, being the youngest and having a sister-in-law. All of them were our best moms. But then you think about it, every mother is different. There is only one you and one of your child that will never be compared to anybody. So I thought I was ready. I thought I was all set, seeing all the examples from my
Yeah.
family. But then again, it's a very different experience. It's not what you see on TV. Na, oh, this is my child. I'm teaching her this.
Yeah.
There is homeschooling is fun. This is that. It's not. It's not. It's definitely not. But the reward of it, grabe, the feeling that you have after ending the day and you did your best, nothing compares to it. Well, motherhood is that for me. The all the hardship, all the things that you go through at the end of the day, it's all fulfillment. Nothing more than that. Yeah,
Wow.
that's
It's
it
so
for me.
funny though that you said that you had all the best examples at home and you think like, okay, now I got this. I really just got this.
Yeah.
You think you have all the notes, but then it all goes
I
out the window when it
I
was
know.
yours.
You nothing that I learned from them applied all the time to my daughter. And to think they have multiple kids, all of them, I only have one.
And to think also Nini also took care of us growing up. So basically she had training.
Training.
She had training. Although she was a Padawan then. She would be so different, totally different as a an aunt then. But then just that goes out the
I
window when it's your
I know
turn.
I felt that I was so hard on you guys. I am still, but borderline terror with you guys.
But I did not experience most of that. I was a good kid.
I
It was
know, that's
Nacho
true.
who got the lion's share of that because
Uh,
you guys had to stay
True.
together for like
Like, true.
a few
Yeah, we shared
years.
the same bed.
Yeah. I remember those. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Poor Nacho.
I know. What a grown up now. So those are
Hmm.
wonderful, wonderful really to hear those because we don't really get to have these conversations with moms.
Hmm.
I actually have a lot of mom friends, like other
Yeah.
than you, an aunt. I also like in everything that I do because I meet a lot of moms and I'm like, what? You're a mom? Like I never could have. I'm like in my head, it's so hard. Like I see my mom what she does. I see what you're doing. I'm like, I'm good. I don't want to be a.
That's true.
I don't want to be a mom though. I'm not gonna be.
Oh
I'm no
no.
mom. I don't want to be a dad yet. Like, oh my gosh,
Mm-mm.
how could you even? It's like you said, it's 24/7. Like it never ends. And I deal with kids on a daily basis. So I'm like, I get to return them to their families
Yes.
after. So I'm like,
And
yes.
that's how many hours a day only. Imagine 24 hours. Even if you're peeing in the bathroom, you'll hear, "Mom, can I do this?" It's so
Or
hard.
you're like you'll hear a scream, "Mom, mom, can I
I
get
know.
this?" Oh my
Well,
god.
menial things. Mom, I'm done. Like sometimes you want to be sarcastic even with your friends. So what will I do? Or mom, where will I put this? I would always tell her in my bum. And she would look at me. She wants to answer me back, but then she can't. But yeah, it's so rewarding though. It's very rewarding because everything you do when you look at them, you try to answer back to them. You would always think, she's gonna look up to whatever I say. So
And she's
mind
gonna
we
take
say
it
all
by
the time.
heart. Yeah, she's
Yeah,
gonna be
that's
like,
true.
"That's what my mom said," like that's gonna be.
I know. That's a scary part of mom that I think changed in me because you would always think, they're kids, especially kids nowadays. Now they're smart. No, not that they're smarter, but then they're more open, especially when they converse to other people and they converse with you already, not before like with us. This is what I said. This
Yeah,
will stand. So
yeah.
now they would ask why. So it's so hard. Have to be mindful because you would always think that they will look up to you. Whatever you say will be in their minds always.
Yeah, and they
So
would
yeah.
always have like you would always have a moment where you have to process it. I think it's a generational thing where everybody like right now is a little more receptive to explaining, having to explain why this is
Mhm,
happening, and kids would, surprisingly, kids would know naman. It's just you think
mhm,
they wouldn't know as deeply as you would, but they would.
mhm.
Like they would. Okay.
Yeah,
And
true.
so that was a fun opening for that. That was fun. And mind never mind the helicopter that you were hearing earlier. We just want to find that out, but all good. All good. It's safe now.
Apologies on that.
That was on her side. Anyways, so this is one more question. So this is another, let's probe deeper. What went through your mind when you found out you were pregnant?
I found it out through a stick.
Well, I think most
Mhm.
of you would, unlike in the
Midnight.
movies.
Yeah, and I didn't go through I went to the doctor, had
Ah,
myself checked. So I figured it out myself. So it was a month through it that I felt that, oh, I must be. At the time, I felt that I was really ready. Like what I said, I've seen so many parents or moms in my life. And then just knowing that I am pregnant, I was so excited. Excited at first, and then fear will sink in that I was away from my family. My parents, my sisters, none of them was with me at the time. So I was so excited still. And then the first thing that went to my head is, Lord, make it a girl.
okay.
Please let it be a girl because I cannot handle boys. So imagine Layla being a boy. I am. I'll be sad for her. I don't know. Of course, she's gonna grow up with me. So yeah, I was so excited, very happy. The fear that set in me was, will she have all throughout the pregnancy? Will she have 10 fingers? Will she have complete features? Will her ears be even? Yeah, yung basic fears of what mom has every time when if they're pregnant. Then will she be mentally okay? Will she have dentos? Ganyan. That all the fears that naturally moms have when they're pregnant. But then mostly and all throughout my pregnancy, it was a very pleasant experience. No morning sickness, nothing
Okay.
like I was craving for something, nothing. So it's so
You were
pleasant.
just
I
like
love it.
building a baby. It's like build a bear in your tummy. That's
I
it.
know, I know. It was just growing big. It's just still me, but it's growing big. I don't know why, but yeah,
You
it's
did
just a
not.
pleasant experience.
You didn't have a hormonal rage moment and like
Maybe, but it wasn't difficult. It's more on picking on her dad the
okay.
whole time. So, but yung craving, nothing. I ate. Well, of course, the dilemma you have that you're eating for two, but you're really not. So
you
yeah,
you just have a lot of excuses right now to
yeah,
eat for two.
excuses. So you eat. That was my fear to physically, your body will physically change. Well, it will all change, and then the fear of giving birth. But everything until I gave birth to her went well. Labor for 1 hour and that's it. Pansit. It was very fast. It
But
was very
didn't you get
fun.
like scared of like having your, cervix being opened by a baby and all that?
I didn't even realize this is the classic story of me giving birth. I would always say that. I went to the hospital at 5 a.m. I gave birth at 8. 8 p.m. So I went 5 p.m. without even knowing. I just had little cramps. So I went to the hospital, peace and quiet. And then when I had that process that they will check how many cms you are, when the doctor whispered to the nurse that she's at 8, ready yourselves already. When I heard it was 8, I would always remember in the movies when it's 8 cm, they're crying their butts off
And they're
already.
screaming and they're
They're
throwing crap out
screaming.
like
I
ah!
know, cursing and everything. Then I realized I was 8. Why am I so calm? And then I had the chance. I started screaming already. It's so just for the heck of it, because I thought, well, I should be screaming, but why am I not? And then that's it.
I'm
I,
dead. I did not know that you just were like, okay, I'm gonna scream because I get to scream now.
I know because it's 8. Because they were asking me questions. Do you do this? Do you do that? Do you do this? I was answering calmly, and then when they said 8 cm, oh my goodness, I think I have to scream now. It's that time. And then ask for this is the funniest part. I always see in the movies they ask for ice chips. Then I asked for ice chips. I didn't even know what it would do for me. It did nothing. But yes, I asked for ice chips.
How did you ask it? Did you like bring me ice, or like did
I
you
know
try
it, but
doing the hysterical movie time of giving birth?
no, when I had a little moment of like quiet, excuse me, can I have ice chips? I said. And then they gave me ice chips and I said, oh sige, I'm gonna bite on it. But it really didn't help because this was very short. And Lola was
Wow.
there. Lola was there. Lola was more in panic than me. She was like digging into her bag. And then when I saw her, why won't I scream? I'll scream so she'll be more in panic. I'm joking.
I'll scream.
Ah!
Come here.
Because why is everybody so calm? So yeah, that's how easy it was. So from pregnancy to me giving birth, I thank God, and I would always tell Leila that you were very, very good to me. Well, I think it's gonna progress.
I think she's gonna be
It's
good, and it's gonna be a roller
good, and then
coaster.
I don't know. I don't know if it's gonna be going backward or what. But then yeah, she was very good to me all throughout my pregnancy.
Okay, well, that she has been naman. She's still very good naman up until now, guys. It's
Yeah.
still progress. She just needs to learn more things, obviously, as a kid growing up. So it's fine. It's fine. It's
She,
funny,
like you said, because she's being sassy. I think being sassy, not in a bad way.
but it
She's
like
she's getting her
curious.
personality already,
Yes.
so that's fine.
Yeah, don't worry. Well, though I'm actually so used to the sassiness, so whenever I visit you guys, and whenever she talks to me, I be sassy, and I'm not scared to be sassy because I do that with my kids.
And I think she mostly gets it from you guys also. Being surrounded by sassy people, I think she picks up on your energy, the way you talk to her. I think that's it. But it's okay. At least she's growing up to be. I know she's gonna be strong, just like you guys.
But like, I can't. I love being sassy to her, and she's like, she doesn't even know what to say anytime. I'm like, you think you can outtalk me, huh? I'm the worst person. I'm the first person who
Yeah, the
outtalks
first.
everyone here. So
Everybody. Yeah,
yeah,
that's true though.
like I'm the one who talks the most here, which explains this podcast and everything. So
That's true.
anyway, so that's one. Well, you kind of answered what were your fears,
Mm-hmm.
during pregnancy. Now, what's your biggest fear about like bringing her into this world as like growing up? Because I have a lot. Like even if I didn't have a baby yet, I have a lot of fears on my own. But I also have a lot of like fears of not freezing my sperm. But that's an inside joke, guys. But I just want to get into that.
in a in a little cuppy.
You know,
Plastic cup, how it cover.
anyways, so my grandma and your Lola and Celine, we were having a conversation about having kids, and they asked me if I wanted to have kids. Since I was in the rainbow, I don't really have a body clock here, right? Like I can have it forever. And then my lola just said, "Freeze, magpa-freeze ka na ng sperm." And I'm like, really? Is
No,
it me? Me who's gonna need it? Like, okay, sure. Let me send you
and
some.
then and then we were talking about it, right? You put it in a little copy, leave it in the freezer, and then
And
put
say
Adrian in it.
specimen Ian. So weird.
I hate you.
Anyway, so look, like I do have a lot of fears because right now, like if I would have fears, here's what I was understanding. If I would have fears of how the world is gonna treat me, I'm sure parents, mothers have that fear. And yun nga sabi mo that's what you said. When you had your child, it was a 24/7 thing.
Mm.
So does the worrying ever stop also? Like now you're worrying for two people, not just one.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So what were your fears now of handling the situation? So you handled your pregnancy pretty well. Now now bringing Layla up, raising her up, what were your fears then? And then
Well,
how did you handle
now,
it?
now thinking about it, especially with all the things that's happening around the world when you watch news, I try to, before I would always ask everyone to not watch news when she's there. Or, of course, Lola, being Lola herself, she would watch teleseries that are really out for, you know how Filipino teleseries are revenge, hatred, and everything. Or I'm sorry, I don't know if everyone knows, Malala mo kaya. And then yung TV shows in the Philippines usually show bad side all the time,
Yeah.
and then they would show the good side eventually, but it takes forever. I
It's
would
mostly
always ask them.
drama. It really
Mm-mm.
takes the build up and everything. It's a
I know.
telenovela. It is if you guys
No.
it's a telenovela that's a whole Jane the Virgin level of telenovela, like plot twists
Yeah,
everywhere.
they would show the face of the person too many times just to show their reactions in the scenes. I would always ask them, try not to let her watch because she's being exposed so much to what a cruel world we have. But then again, now I I fear for her growing up in a world na being me when I grew up. There's so many tough children, so many tough kids. How you look like, how you speak, where you from, where you're from. Though it's still you still have it nowadays, but the acceptance now is a little more better. But
Mhm.
then again, I would always tell her, my fear is that actually growing up in a world that not everybody sees. Bec- There are not everybody. There's not much good people in the world, but I'm sure there are many good people in the world as well. But then I would always tell her, it's not all the time that you meet the good ones.
Yeah.
You would always meet the bad ones in the bunch.
Mhm.
And don't be surprised because it's normal. It's better that you meet them early on in your life so you know how to react to them, you know how to deal with them. It's not always um beautiful. Your life will not always be beautiful. It will be filled with tough times. I am not telling you this to be negative to the world, but I need you to be prepared. So
Yeah.
that's my biggest fear when she grows up. You know how tough world is being her her being with the passport she has. And I know she's going to grow up and eventually will be in a different world than she is now. So I would always tell her that just be secure with yourself. So that's what I need you to have. Be confident. Because the fear, everybody has the fear of rejection. And it would always happen. Work, school, love life. So I would always tell her, just be ready. There are bad people in the world. Just do the best. Be kind. And just just love yourself first. You know, I would
Oh,
always tell her that.
great. That's wonderful. Start self love young, bitch. Oops, sorry. Oop. Start self love young.
I
everybody.
know.
So that's
True.
great. That's great. And wonderful, like that is really true though. It's weird. You actually taught that in a very like I think you're teaching it in a nicer way than we all have to grow up with it because
Mm.
not like yun nga right now what you notice the society is a little more it's harsher still it's still harsh there
Mm-hmm.
are still
I think.
harsh people around
Oh,
wherever
mhm.
like why can't you let the person be happy just let them be like what's wrong with you are they bothering what you're doing like there are
Yeah.
those people who just go out of their way to make you feel
Mm-hmm.
like a
Feel
slob and they're yeah
that's true.
and there are good people who don't really care who just accepts you for that kind of like everything and growing up I that was one of the struggles technically so you're teaching her in a way that's an like what do you call that that's a better way of teaching it because I had like tough love is tough love tough love is
Mm-hmm.
still there it does make a lot of difference from explaining it and just being like
Mm-hmm.
okay I'm just telling you this is what you're gonna face in the universe no you kind of like you
Mm-hmm.
have to explain it that it's gonna be something that you're gonna face all the time and
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to tell them. It's hard to. I cannot draw a picture of a world that's always positive. That's always no. When you cannot say that when you're kind to them, they'll always be kind to you. You cannot. You cannot be sure of that. You know yourself. It's not always like that. But yeah, it's hard. It's hard to tell them that no, everything's gonna be all right. Or when you make a mistake, you apologize. It's fine. It's yeah, it is. But at some point, there will always be people who will not even accept an apology,
yeah
and
yeah
that's okay. You live with it.
yeah and
It's
then
it's.
and that's like basically it's a whole lot of taking accountability then like when you do something wrong you apologize but it's not up to you to ask for like to
Mm-hmm.
demand that apology or
Yeah, that's
that
true.
and when you ask for an apology you prepare yourself for not being able to get that forgiveness when you ask it okay well wow. See, guys, she's starting young. You better get your crap together because I've met a lot of people who's not yet that on that level of a lot of things. So you guys have to learn. She's still learning, but look at her. She's starting early now. Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
since we talked about
Trying.
that, well, before we go on a break, that's what all I was gonna say. That was awesome. That was an awesome moment. Thank you guys for listening and joining us up until in this moment. So we'll take a little break and we'll see you again later in three, two, and one.
Like what you hear so far? Make sure you never miss a show by clicking the subscribe button now. This podcast is made possible by listeners like you. Thank you for your support. Now, back to the show.
All right, guys, welcome back to Love, Growth, and Freedom with Adrian Duarte. And today I still have with me my aunt, Celine Duarte. Nini, here you go.
Hi.
Let's talk about naman. What's the hardest part of being a mom? Like, what's the struggles that you've faced in being a mom? Don't leave us any details. Keep going.
Yeah, but I have, of course, so many. But then for me, the hardest I think is the judgment and yung justification that you have to do, especially in a society that is not used to being not being used to seeing single moms.
Mhm.
It's hard to justify as well why you're a single mom or justifies the choices that you make. Of course, now everybody thinks that being a mom has a certain pattern.
Mhm.
And that's one of the hardest things that I have to do. How I discipline my daughter, how I teach my daughter, how we are as a family, like just me and her. That's one thing. And second is lately I have realized since I'm a working mom now,
Mhm.
congratulations to me.
Cheers.
Like I had the privilege of not working for quite a while and see her grow up. But then now that I'm a working mom, it's hard to balance because the very few times that you have for yourself, of course you have to spend time with her. And at the end of the day, you will have to apologize that I am sorry I didn't get enough time to spend with you today or teach you today. But then again, how beautiful children are, and mine is. she would always say, "It's okay. We had this time, or we have the weekend." That's one of the hardest things that you have to consider if you're a working mom. The the constant worrying is one of the hardest as well. You worry about mosquito bites, the menial things, mosquito bites, her fingers getting pinned in the door. Even if you're sleeping, if you hear accidents or anybody getting sick, you would think about it every day. What if? And one last thing, the hardest thing that I had to go through was to keep, not naman to keep, it's more on to go through life with her, showing her happiness when deep inside you, you're hurt.
Oh, ooh.
That's, you
See.
know, that's the hardest thing I had to do, especially when she was 2, 3, or 4. She would see your emotions already, but you cannot show her because you know in your heart that it has nothing to do with her.
Mhm,
It's a choice you made. It's a choice you made, so you cannot burden her with what you feel.
mhm.
So that's the toughest for me. So you know what we went through um early on, well, early on after me giving birth, it started. So it's so hard to go through, and it's like what I tell you, how Barney is when he's on screen,
And
or
how
how
he's
a
on.
yeah, how a teacher is, I would
Yeah.
say. Sorry, but
Uh,
Barney and teacher for me are like together, are like the same. But then you'll have to be all bubbly and everything. But
yeah.
when you're feeling something inside, that's you're hurting. That's the hardest part for me. But thank God, and thank God that I went through it, and my family was there with me when I went through it. So yeah, that's the toughest.
Well, I think that's always been like the toughest, like on any moms. Also,
Yeah.
like they
Mhm.
probably, how you can't actually show what you're feeling if, like, if you're already having troubles with so many other things, you can't really show that to your kids. Even if they grow up and whatever, you're still keeping some stuff under the rug.
Mhm.
Like you're just sweeping it under the rug and okay, let's continue like it's one big happy crappy whatever. But
Mhm. But
yeah,
you have to put on a brave face.
yeah, I
If
think.
if more than anything, brave face to tell them what's happening. But it's hard. You cannot show them you're breaking down
Mhm.
because it's not that you cannot show weakness. It's more on, it's not for them to make it a problem
Yeah.
because it's
Oh.
within you. It's in you. It's not for them to worry for now, I guess.
Okay, see, that's a perspective that I kind of like still not know. Because as a teacher, I know what it feels like to be like, yay! Ah!" And then after the call, you're like, my,
Diba?
like,
How
oh my god, like,
the day is so shitty. Ganyan. You
yeah, the
cannot.
other, I can't do that. I
Mm.
remember like going through that 2019 post, whatever, post,
Mhm.
ew. I can't even, like, ew, I had a, ew. Okay, so
You
post,
can't,
whatever.
right? Even with
Like,
your family, you
yeah,
cannot show them because it's not for them to burden
yeah.
themselves
So,
with.
so it's a little, yeah, I get it, but like that's a, I think a lifelong thing as a mom that you're gonna do. You don't
Mhm.
want your kids to worry, especially if it's not, you don't want to be a burden sometimes. And I think
Mhm.
that's, that's a thing right now that a lot of people wouldn't know yet. Coming from a mom's perspective, I think that's one good thing that we have to hear. Now, enough with the struggles. Why don't we talk about the happiest part of being a mom? Like, what are your triumphs as a mom? What made you like, just say, okay, I'm well into motherhood now, so these are the things that I enjoy, and these are the things that I, yeah.
The best thing for me from being a mom, the experience is looking or seeing the world through their eyes. Yung with no negativity, nothing. Though there is skepticism in their eyes, that of course with you showing them what the real world is, but then little gestures, how they they perceive it, seeing it in them that, oh, this is nice, this is beautiful, this is, I am blessed to have this. Little things. That's the best part for me, because I know that when she appreciates small things like that, I know that her heart is full. It doesn't take an expensive thing. It doesn't take a big vacation, or it doesn't take a big gesture for her. It's it's the little things. Seeing things through her eyes is the best part. Appreciating things through her eyes is the best part. And watching her grow, I think I would always look at her sometimes. You when you're just quiet and then you see her walk, you see her do things, brush her teeth on her own. It's the little things. It's the little things more than anything else that makes everything worthwhile. And even if you're having a very bad day, she would always, or you doubt yourself that I'm not good enough, she would always think that rainbow is coming out of your butt. That's how special you are to her. And no matter how you look like, you're beautiful in her eyes. The hugs and kisses when you made something or you did something, but then again she would come up to you and won't judge you. That's the best part of being a mom, I think. It's not the goals and the successes. It's not only the goals and the successes she has, but it's more on how she looks at you, how she appreciates little things. And of course, one last thing that I really am you feeling that that's the best is when she knows to put God first.
Mhm.
You, nowadays, of course, religion. There's so many religions. There's it. I am I'm just happy that she knows the value of putting God first in everything she does. So yeah, that's the best part of it.
That's
Seeing
all.
that she learned a lot from she learns from you in one way or another.
Yeah. Well, that's great. No, see, there's wonders about being a mom. There's also like a lot of things, but it is actually such it is a lifelong. I would love to say that it's a vocation. It's
Yeah,
a
it is.
calling, right? Like
Yeah.
being a mom I don't think it should be for everyone. If it's not for everyone, I think that's what the society has always been
Mhm,
telling what women are supposed to be sometimes, and
mhm,
it's really like you should be a mom, you should be like this at the end of the day. And you see that in many cultures asking you, when are you gonna have like this, when are you gonna, well, it
mhm.
stopped now. I'm happy though, it's I'm happy it
Yeah,
stopped now. And especially
true.
being a trendsetter in the family, as I always am. They
Trueness.
don't get to ask me any more of that because, well, honey, I poop rainbows as well.
I know. See, true. Motherhood is not just being a mother biologically. It can be through through legal adoption or that.
Yeah,
But then it's a calling. It's a gift.
it is. And then
Not
people should
not.
not be forced
Mm,
to do it. I think that's why there are like people who are kind of like forced into it, and that kind of actually causes or makes bad people in the world because maybe they don't feel like, there are some people who would regret situations like that, and
mhm,
not to judge, but there are some things like that it's not gonna turn out great for some people if
mhm,
it's not the vocation. So it is.
yeah,
And people think it's somehow like, oh, let's just do this, let's have whatever. Or even if it's gonna be an accident, minsan talaga, even if it's an accident, even it's ganyan, malalaman mo na it's also your vocation. You're gonna know that it's your vocation when the time comes, and it was meant
yeah.
for you to have. So yeah, but there are some also people who still have to go through all of that. Na baka hindi lang nila na-accept na this was their vocation or this was their calling to become a mom. And not
It's
yeah, not everyone should
it's
be
hard.
forced. Not everyone should be
And
like
there are some parents that you think, well, the society thinks, oh, that person shouldn't be a parent for what they are doing to their
yeah,
kids. So yeah, to be a good enough parent, to be a good parent really is a gift. It's a choice that you have to make. So yeah,
It is.
everybody. It's not because you have a biological clock that you have to follow. If it's not in your heart, though they would always say you will never be ready, but then you know in your heart
Yeah.
what you
There's
really want to
yeah.
do. So
Let's put
not
grace
everybody
into
is
that.
built.
Like
Yeah.
Christina Yang, she doesn't really want
Mm.
it. Like
No, that's
she
true.
knew it in her heart that she didn't want it. And it
She's not
was
built to be a mom, and it's okay.
yeah, and it doesn't make you less of a person if you are
Hmm.
not. So for people who are listening, like it may not be something for you and that's okay. It's fine. But you
So,
know, that's all for it. But this is a very, very famous quote. Mothers know best. Why do mothers know best? Why do you think so?
yeah,
If you
mother
have
knows best.
yes, mama knows best. Why?
Yeah, I know. Take it from your mumsy. Okay,
Hmm.
so yeah, why? Because everything we do out of love. We are the next to yourself. We are the best person who know you next.
Exactly, and
We
we
know
came
what.
out of you.
Yeah, true. That and you're all when you went out of us, all the stickiness are from us. We know everything, even yung little things that make you upset, make you happy. We know everything. So everything we tell you is based or is out of love.
Yeah.
So when we tell you something, I know everybody. I have an 8-year-old. I could imagine saying the same thing to a 20-year-old. But I know best. I know better than you. Of course, generation gap and everything. But the basics will always be there.
Yeah.
That when we give you advice, there's something in it that we know is beneficial for you. It's
Mm.
not because we just want you to follow us or power tripping. It's never like that. We do it because we do it out of love. So
Ha.
yeah,
I
I
love it.
I I think we should always, at the end of the day, when you're all grown up, you would always say, "Yeah, my mom said it right." She may have said it differently,
But
like in a very harsh way, but yes,
like,
it's.
I get it now. You're gonna have
He's
like a light
right.
bulb moment and be like, oh, I get it now. I get it. I
Yeah,
understand.
Layla would always ask me, "Why, mom? Why do you know?" Because I've been through it, of course. When I would always going to the what they always say, that your mom would always give you advice and they think it's just ball because you're going through it. No, because we went through it. It's the experience we have in life that made us say that, yeah, this I think is best for you for now.
And plus, you ate for two for like 9 months. So basically,
Hmm.
whatever you ate, she ate.
I know that's true.
You basically built everything up from the ground up. Like, bitch, I made you. Like, literally.
So yeah, so whatever I think is best for you is I think what's best for you. It's the intuition of mothers. I
Yeah.
think
I
it's
th-
more on the instincts of what we think we know what's best for you. Though you can argue, it's always nice to argue or talk about it. So you can compromise. Don't leave everything out. No, my mom doesn't know because
yeah.
I'm this or I'm old already. They still know best. We still know
Yeah.
best.
For sure. Okay, that was wonderful. Now, a follow up question for that. What are the things
Mhm.
that you learned from
Ah.
Lola in being a mother yourself right now? Like, what was your how? This is what she tried to This is what she tried to tell me. Like what was that?
Sige, I have bullet points in my brain. So, money don't grow on trees. So that's the first. Save, be smart with your money, and hard work pays off.
Mhm,
Um, choose the people who you will be with. Your
mhm,
friends. Choose your friends. It's true. An old saying that tell me who your friends are and I'll tell you who you are. That is
mhm,
so true. We would talk about it with Layla, especially with all the things in the news that got trouble because of a friend. I would always say, see, it really is true. I never thought about it up until I had my daughter and then say, yeah, it is true. then that,
Mm.
and be a parent first, then be a friend. You cannot be a friend first before you are a parent, because at the end of the day, they will need someone to rear them as a person first before they can trust you as a friend.
Smart. Okay, guys, if you're having a baby soon, that's one good thing that you gotta keep. Like in 9 months, if you're gonna spring out a baby out your bum, or no, not your bum, your thing,
Or
that would
a
be
slice in your tummy.
yes,
That's
that
very useful.
yeah. Keep that in mind. Okay, now down to our final. That's like a wonderful session here. That's awesome.
Mhm.
Learned a lot. Next thing is, what are now your advice to moms to be and just new moms out there? So go for it.
Mhm. My advice for moms to be and moms out there, whatever age you're at, maybe I'm not the this is from my heart.
Mhm.
Know that it's okay to do things differently. Motherhood is not a competition. It's it's about you and your children. So be proud of the parent that you are. Then second thing is, kids grow up very fast. So enjoy every moment. They'll grow up in a blink of an eye, and then they'll go, I don't want to come with you anymore to the grocery, or I have things, and then I drive to this. So enjoy every moment of it. To new moms, your body will change. It will change forever. Yeah, it can go back to that size that you are in right now, but then it will change. Inside you, things will change. So yeah, be mindful of it. But it's a good change. Then know that you'll have good days and bad days. A bad day doesn't mean you're a bad parent. It's it's just a bad day. You are you be proud of yourself. You're still good. Always remember. And love yourself. Always make time for yourself still. It's not true that when you have a child, all that your time should be with your kids always. You make time for yourself, because giving time to yourself is showing them how to love themselves as well. And lastly, for single moms like me, being a single mom is the hardest, toughest, most empowering thing you'll ever do in your life. It will teach you how to be strong and be the best person that you can be, twice of the person you should be in the family. But at the end of the day, you will get double the kisses, double the hugs, double the appreciation. Being a good mother is not always, it doesn't have to be, or being a good mother, you don't always have to be um with a parent, another parent. Being a good mother is about love, the love you give to your child. And you always remember, as long as you let your love guide you in everything you do, for single parents, always remember you are enough. You are more than enough to your child. So that's it. I think I think that's
Yawn.
more than enough to say.
Thank you so much for joining us here on a Mother's Day special. So this week it's gonna be released this week. So thank you so much for joining me, Tita Celine. Yes, and thank you guys for listening here on Love, Growth, and Freedom with Adrian Duarte. I hope you've learned a lot in being a mother and what it is actually. I mean, this is just the tip of the iceberg of what a mom is, and
Mhm.
it's a
True.
multifaceted thing. There's so many things about being a mom that we haven't really covered. There's so many things, like this is just from one perspective, and then there's so much more of what it is being a mom, especially for people who's been doing it for years and on. So
Mhm.
I hope you take this, this value and all the things that you've learned to heart, and see what you kind of like really have to work on, and especially how you treat your moms with this one. That's
Yes.
that's the goal of the episode, is to tell you what moms go through, so that you understand that they're also human beings. They're not just someone who nags you to do whatever they need you to do and whatever they
Mhm.
think is best for you. Because again, it comes from love. So Thank you again for being here. I'll see you again soon on my next few episodes. This is AD and this is my tita, Celine. We'll see you soon. Thank you.
Thank
Goodbye.
you. Bye.
If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe so you're notified when a new episode is posted in Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or via RSS. While you're at it, if you found value in this show, rate and review this podcast and share it with your friends. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. And if you want to know more, check out www.guerillapodcast.com.au or guerillapodcast.com.ph. A Guerilla Podcast Syndicate production.